really liked about the moot court competition is that I was given an opportunity to explore in the world of law and to actually see myself in each and every judge that was in each and every courtroom during the competition. My experience as a muter in front of the judges was nerve-wracking at first, but I eventually got a hang of it. I remember the first day of the competition, me and my co-counsel were representing the respondent, and the nerves really got the better of us. But as the competition progressed, we really grew, our confidence grew, and I recalled some of the judges complimenting us on that during day 2 of the competition. Moot court has really helped me. I never knew that I had the ability to trigger my critical thinking, and now I can confidently say that the world of law should be alerted because a big wave is coming their way.
Moot court was a very eye-opening and life-changing experience. Initially, I was accompanying my best friend to sign up for the competition, and she ended up convincing me to sign up, and I was one of the 2 who were chosen to represent my school for the competition. I gained a lot of knowledge throughout the competition. Understanding the actual principles of law changed my entire perspective and views on life. Not only did I realize how protected I was as a South African citizen, but I learned that with every law came a great responsibility. Life after moot court was never the same again. New friendships were formed, new bonds were created. We had so much fun. I definitely do not regret.
My co-counsel and I have been challenged by being given a hypothetical case to deal with from school level, provincial up to national level. Moot court has been a life-changing experience for me because I've become more conscious of the Constitution, and Moot court has instilled the mindset that I need to be the change that I wish to see in the world, and that my voice needs to be heard in every matter concerning me. Those hypothetical cases has really just made me more interested into dealing with the real cases, because now I really want to pursue law as a career, and Moot court has really given me the opportunity to make purposeful friendships that are still existing right now. I think moot court is a good competition, and it's a competition that I'll forever remember in my life.
We definitely received a lot from the experience. We learned a lot, and we developed a really good friendship thanks to this competition. I think I can say on behalf of both of us that it helped us understand exactly how South Africa's judicial system works. We understood the ins and outs of our constitution and our rights and the responsibilities associated with those rights.
I really think it's an excellent opportunity for students in South Africa to get fascinated with law and with the constitution and the rights, and to meet so many other people in the process.
It's literally a once in a lifetime opportunity.
You really can only do it once.
Yeah.
And I think I've learned an immeasurable amount, particularly in how the Constitution affects me, how the rights influence my own life, and how that's important. And what I have to do as a South African citizen to uphold those rights with the responsibilities withheld within.
And even if you're not interested in those things, the experience of the competition and everything we experienced along with it is cherished by the both of us.
Definitely.
Good day, my name is Jerome Malaza. I represented Mashishing Secondary School in a moot court schools competition national in Pretoria. What I experienced is that the moot court is able to make you who you are not. First things first, I was trained by my school to speak in front of people fluent English and give the best content I can ever give. I wasn't really the best in doing that. Like, it was my first time ever participating in any kind of debate. But my school was able to take me from the worst to the best, as we were intent on being in the top 16. What I love about this competition is that the judges are unbiased. They know very well that you are from different ethnic status and the kind of people you are, and they don't really care much about the race or anything. They judge in terms of the content you give them, and they make sure that they judge you fairly. And when I started this moot court competition, I wasn't really a fan of loving. Like, I didn't really love law, but when I continued, I fell in love with law. I felt like law was the best thing you can ever do. I honestly believe moot court school competition is the best in any. I think.
Academically, I was inspired. Honestly, I never had the love for law, but I always knew I was good in winning fights with people. So, well, verbal fights. Yes, exactly. I always got my way. So when I entered the moot court competition, I found love in law. Found love in law in such a way that when I was doing matric, I used my grade 11 reports, and because I had won the best race in South Africa, I applied for law at the University of the Northwest and University of the Western Cape, and I got accepted. So I'll be forever grateful to the moot court competition. And well, to the young ones, I will say, when you've entered, give it your best.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Mariana Aranda González, tengo 10 años, estoy en la institución educativa La Pastora y estoy en cuarto. Me gusta mucho escribir porque me gusta mucho imaginar, la literatura, me encanta imaginar. Estos cuentos que les voy a leer, uno es mi favorito, que son Las Memorias del Agua, que se trata de la naturaleza, del agua, las plantas, unas cosas que a mí me gustan mucho. Las Memorias del Agua. Había una vez una gota de agua que vivía en una nube y que fue recorriendo un camino hacia la tierra. Cuando llegó a la tierra se empezó a hacer amiga de una planta, la cual hidrataba todos los días. Un día la gota de agua quiso salir a explorar la tierra junto a su amiga la planta. Ellas descubrieron tormentas, tornados, relámpagos, temblores y muchas cosas más. La gota de agua y su amiga estaban muy tristes porque estaban dañando la tierra. Entonces ellas, de camino a casa, se encontraron con un árbol mágico. Ese árbol mágico les dijo: pidan un deseo y os concederé. Mi única regla es que no pidan algo malo y que lo pidan con mucho silencio y cuidado. Entonces la gota de agua pidió que cuidáramos el agua y no lo malgastáramos. Y la planta pidió que cuidáramos el medio ambiente. El árbol mágico les concedió los deseos y además los llevó a casa. A la gota de agua la llevó a un río muy hermoso y grande, y a la planta la llevó a la selva, y vivieron felices por siempre.
Siguió otro cuento que se llama Derecho a la Diferencia. Había una vez un mundo en el que los niños no podían estar con las niñas. Los niños nada más les podría gustar el color azul y a las niñas el color rosa. Pero existió un niño al que le gustaba el rosa, y un día en la escuela vio una chica usando ropa azul, lo que le pareció muy extraño. Se acercó y le dijo: ¿por qué usas cosas azules? Lo que ella respondió fue: no le veo nada de malo. En ese momento pensó: entonces me puedo poner ropa color rosa. De inmediato fue de compras con su padre y le dijo: ¿puedo llevar ropa rosa? A lo que él le respondió: claro, no leo el por qué no lo permiten. Mientras salían a casa hubo mucha gente que los miró con desprecio y otras que solo los ignoraba. Fue así que él fue creciendo, hizo una campaña para que todo el mundo pueda usar ropa de cualquier color. Esto se extendió por todo el mundo y así logró que no importara el sexo, te podrías vestir como quieras. Sí.
Hola, mi nombre es Juan José Arboleda Sánchez, estudio en Institución Educativa José María Bravo Márquez, hago parte del proyecto Gulliver, estoy en cuarto 1, tengo 10 años y me apasiona escribir y leer porque me gusta. Veo que hay mucha gente que también le gusta leer, entonces me gustaría hacer muchos cuentos para que toda la gente esté feliz y admire todo lo que todas las personas hacen para hacer feliz a todo el mundo. Voy a hacer el segundo cuento. El segundo cuento se llama Superhéroe Curador. Este cuento lo hice por todo lo que está pasando en este momento. quiero que todas las personas seamos fuertes porque todos podemos superar esta pandemia. Entonces, todos nos vamos a curar. Este superhéroe llegó para ayudar a la humanidad a combatir el COVID-19. Este superhéroe tiene poderes muy importantes, como la sabiduría y el entendimiento. Estos dos poderes, él los usa para crear conciencia en la humanidad, de tener los cuidados necesarios para que este virus no se expanda y lo podamos superar todos juntos. Estos, junto a los poderes de limpieza, el poder de la ayuda y la responsabilidad, porque esto es responsabilidad de todos. Con todos estos poderes, este superhéroe nos ayuda a destruir y poder volver a la normalidad.
So what interested me in joining the group is that I'm quite interested in social justice, and I'd seen quite a few activists and campaigners use the law to achieve their goals in this sphere. And I just kind of was curious about how, if that was possible in my own areas of interest, and to just, generally find out a bit more about this. One thing I'd like to see changed in the law is how we elect our MPs. I think right now the first past the post system isn't really delivering governments that are representative of views of the country and of the people. So I think that would be a real stepping stone on the way to making meaningful change that people want in this country. The most interesting thing I think from the workshop so far was looking at real case studies of how young people specifically and especially have used the law in their campaigns and their kind of journeys to get justice, I suppose. And I guess the workshops have changed the way I think about the law, in the sense that before I saw the law as a useful way to kind of achieve an end. So you might want to make something illegal, you might want a law introduced. So in that sense, law was quite intuitive in kind of how it can help you. But beforehand, but now I also see the law as just a tool that you can use in trying to get what you want. So that means if you win perhaps a case, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to achieve what you set out to do. And similarly, if you lose a case, that doesn't mean your cause is lost. So I think thinking about the law in a bit more of a nuanced and complex way is what I've taken from these workshops. And how we can help other young people to use the law, I think first, I think the most important thing here is education. I wasn't too clued up on how you can use the law beforehand. And if you don't know how to use something, then obviously you can't use it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I'd say in terms of helping other young people use the law.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I was interested in joining this group because the law can often feel very inaccessible, particularly to young people. Therefore, I saw this as a great opportunity to work together with other like-minded young people towards contributing to making a positive difference in helping young people feel like they can use the law to their benefit rather than the law being used against them to their detriment. The change in the law I would like to see is the raising of the age of criminal responsibility from the current age of 10 to a minimum of 14, in line with that set by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, in order to safeguard and protect children's rights. The most interesting thing so far that I've learned from the workshops is hearing about campaigns and tactics and methods and discussing it with the rest of the group in order to better tailor our action and our aims to the tactics that we are using. From this group, I've learned that consistency is key in getting heard and being able to truly make a change. And sometimes the simple act of handing out marmalade sandwiches or mince pies can make all the difference in being listened to and heard.
Hello, my name is Scarlett and I'm a member of the advisory group. What interested me in joining the group was that I am starting a politics degree in September, so a lot of the content and the issues we cover in each session tie in very nicely with that. I'm also very passionate about advocacy and human rights protection. What changes in law I would like to see? I would love to see votes at 16. I would love to see reforms in our commitment to climate change. But above all, I feel like the legal system as a whole has so many grey areas that are quite intimidating. And I feel like the legal system is very removed and alienated from everyday life. So I'd love to see a broad change like that in how we understand the legal system. What has been the most interesting thing about the workshops has been all the guest speakers. I love how they come from very diverse backgrounds and have very interesting stories to tell. It's always very fascinating being able to just be present with them and ask them questions afterwards. Yeah, that is probably the most interesting thing about the workshops, of the many things that are interesting about the workshops. And what has changed the way I think of making change? The sessions themselves are very collaborative, like everyone can just jump in. It's just such an emphasis on group work and brainstorming. And yeah, I feel like making change isn't something, well, it is something, but on a large scale change isn't something that you can go at alone. So yeah, the collaborative nature of the sessions has made me realise that. How we can help other people, young people, use the law. I feel like there should be, maybe it should be introduced in schools. I feel like understanding your rights and understanding where to go if you feel your rights are being abused. Just very essential things you would think would be essential, but just aren't covered in schools unless the situation arose where you'd need to know your rights. I feel it should just become a part of the curriculum like any other subject.
Do you want to tell the group about how you've been involved in legal action and what that meant for you?
Sure. So, hi, I'm Curtis. I am a first year undergraduate computer science student. I'm not very special, is the genuine answer. I am just another student, but I think one of the most important things that we all need to remember when we're thinking about the law and when we're thinking about society as a whole is that we have a really important responsibility to each other to make sure we're taking care not only of ourselves and our own interests, but of everybody else's as well. And so earlier on this year, when I saw a newspaper story saying that the government would grade people based on their school history and not based on their own achievement for GCSEs and A-levels and similar qualifications, I didn't think that sounded right. And actually at the time I also knew it probably wasn't legal because I had a little bit of legal experience. But the more important thing at that point, when you see something like that, the more important thing is just knowing that doesn't sound right. This isn't good. This isn't what the government should be doing. If you know something is wrong, you are empowered to pursue it. And I did. I got in touch with some lawyers. Having seen that article, I was so enraged, so infuriated by the idea that the government could start trying to judge people based not on who they are and not on the work they've done, but on who the last 5 years of people at their school have been. Because that's something which should be fundamentally discriminatory. That changes the way that examinations and qualifications work. That means that it's no longer about you. You could be the smartest person on the planet, but if you come from an area which has been disadvantaged systematically, you don't have a chance under that system. And I knew that was going to really, really damage confidence and qualifications, and I knew it would really damage the futures of some young people. And I spoke to some lawyers, and eventually I ended up working with a wonderful, wonderful non-profit called Fox Club, who were absolutely fantastic. But it didn't just get me there immediately. I didn't know who Fox Club were. I spoke to some other lawyers in the process, and they kind of looked at this and forwarded me around a bit. Everybody I spoke to in that process was absolutely lovely. And if one of the important things I think to take away from this is you don't need to know straight away where you're going, because if you talk to someone who might know, or who might know someone else who might know something, they will forward you on, and they will 99% of the time be wonderful with it. So I started working with these lawyers, and we saw this wasn't right, and we wanted to do something about it. We didn't want to just leave it like that. I didn't think I could leave it like that. So we wrote a long legal letter setting out our position for something called judicial review, which is a special way of the courts taking a look at something the government has done and going, yeah, this is wrong, this isn't allowed. The government is not allowed to do this. They've done this in a way which is illegal, or they've done this in a way which is irrational, or there's some other means by which the government should not have done this. And we sent that off after they helped me understand all of it. By the end of that process, I could have explained to you every line in that letter. And considering that I had no legal training, no legal experience, that was quite a feat. It took a little while. It wasn't an instant process by any means, but it is very much possible for anybody to understand this. If I can get it, trust me, you can as well. And I'd never been involved in any of this before, but they made sure I was fully aware of what was going on. And by the time that we were ready to send it, it was the day before A-level results. So we sent it off and basically waited and hoped. We sent off a message to the media as well, to the press, saying, this is the thing we're doing. And didn't get a huge deal of interest. I think I did one interview on that day, which still seemed, that still seemed very exciting to me at the time. Like the idea of doing an interview with a national newspaper, that wasn't something I'd ever done before. God, that was really weird, but it was interesting. But there was only one. It wasn't anything big at that point. And then I woke up on results day, and I went to school, and I got my results, and my results were fine, luckily. And then the media interviews started. And I was basically doing those non-stop for 5 days. And I was really scared. Like, this whole process, at the start of this, I had never done any national media interviews before. This was terrifying to me, right? I was worried about saying the wrong thing. I was worried about not being able to answer questions. I might have said something which wasn't legally right, which might have caused problems in the process. And it's okay for it to be scary. Everybody finds this scary. Even lawyers find that scary for the first time. But it gets better. By the end of it, by that Monday where I was doing the 12 interviews in a day, I was totally confident in what I was doing, and I knew that I would have the support of my legal team in getting everything done.
Since the pandemic has started, my life basically depends on technology. I didn't really expect it to be this interesting. I was really impressed because at the beginning I thought maybe I'm too young, or English is not my mother tongue, so I will probably have some problems. But then I understood almost everything. And I improved my writing skills thanks to the discussions every week. And I loved listening to the lectures, different accents. And in particular, what I liked the most was in Module 5. I think it was the document Children and Youth Personal Mental Health, because in those statements I really saw myself. I've learned that children have so many beautiful rights, and often we don't even know about it. For example, I didn't learn them at school, and my parents never informed me. Maybe simply because some people have this conception, which is a naive conception of children, and think children are little, so they maybe do not deserve to be treated as human beings with their own rights. And this is absolutely not true. Now I have this desire to learn more things about this topic, the human rights, and I would like to do something in my future to work with people, and in order to create better possibilities for everyone in the world. I can see my generation moving. I mean, we've seen Fridays for Future, Greta Thunberg, and all of these things, and I think they are incredible things. But at the same time, I also see that the governments don't really want us to be a unique voice, don't want us to have a voice, and that's the reason why we should fight for our rights, for what we believe in. And to do that, we have to know what our rights are. So I think knowledge really empowers us, because if we do not know what our rights are, we cannot fight for them. So learning and studying and being interested in these things is the least that we can do. I mean, we are the future, so that's it.
A me la libertà mi è stata negata per 3 volte. Purtroppo questa è la terza volta che mi ritrovo qui. Per sbagli miei, per cazzate miei, scusami il termine, e quindi non mi lamento con nessuno e non me la prendo con nessuno. Ho sbagliato io e giustamente sono di nuovo qui. Però ritornando al discorso che stavo dicendo prima, bisognerebbe dare un aiuto, perché io come sono uscito la prima volta e come sono uscito la seconda volta, in mano non avevo niente. Non avevo niente. Vai a casa, esci e ti devi andare a inguaiare. Devi andare a fare le solite cose che hai sempre fatto, perché giustamente non riesci a stare senza soldi, perché c'è un padre e una madre che non lavorano e quindi non riescono a darti ogni volta a 20-30 euro di là, non ce la fanno.
Impara dagli sbagli, se no non esci. Impara dai più grandi, se no non cresci. Siamo dei ragazzi con i sogni bombardati, chiusi in gabbia dallo Stato, dimenticati.
Impara dagli sbagli, se no non esci. Impara dai più grandi, se no non cresci. Siamo dei ragazzi con i sogni bombardati, chiusi in gabbia dallo Stato, dimenticati.
Affronto la giornata con determinazione, tutto a suo momento, ogni cosa ha il suo nome. Pilastro della vita e l'istruzione, anche se mi sento solo dietro uno squadrone. Non ci posso fare niente, non è mia la colpa. Se voglio stare bene la salute non si compra.
Quanti ricordi dentro la memoria.
Di certo questa cella non la chiude la mia storia.
C'è chi è fuori dal mondo,
c'è chi dorme in stazione.
Io sto fuori dal gioco,
per questo sto in prigione.
Parlo chiaro come se parlassi tu. La libertà è ciò che apprezzi quando non ce l'hai più. Ricorderò per sempre ciò che mi hanno detto i miei. Ogni insegnamento mi rimane nella mente.
Se mi trovi per strada e mi chiedi chi sei, rispondo sono uguale a tutta l'altra gente. Impara dagli sbagli, se no non esci. Impara dai più grandi, se no non cresci. Siamo dei ragazzi con i sogni bombardati, chiusi in gabbia dallo Stato, dimenticati. Impara dagli sbagli, se no non esci. Impara dai più grandi, se no non cresci. Siamo dei ragazzi con i sogni bombardati, chiusi in gabbia dallo Stato, dimenticati.
Penso a dire il vero, non c'è amore da ste parti. Penso ai familiari che non vengono a trovarti. Troppi amori infranti, troppi cuori stanchi. L'orgoglio molte volte prende il posto dei miei manchi. Per questo per esprimermi spesso serve un gruppo, gente che mi ascolta quando tiro fuori tutto. C'è chi mi fa ridere anche se il tempo è brutto.
Scherzo, non diresti che dentro sono distrutto.
Ero un bambino come tanti nel campetto, cresciuto troppo in fretta ma so cos'è il rispetto.
Questo presente spesso non è ragionevole. amichevole, con gli altri o con me stesso rimango consapevole. Giornate grigie che mi rendono infelice, non mi importa che si dice, io rinascerò felice. Niente più sbarre, rosso sangue sullo sfondo, ragazzi tutti uguali, pronti a cambiare il mondo.
Pronti a cambiare il mondo.
Impara dagli sbagli, se no non esci, impara dai più grandi, se no non cresci. Siamo dei ragazzi con i sogni bombardati, chiusi in gabbia dallo Stato, dimenticati.